I will go out on the limb more than my colleagues and say I think the preponderance of the arguments and evidence they have made, plus the factors that I've simply put on the table that we'll be discussing in subsequent seminars, point probably to an Obama victory, and a comfortable one. But it's based on two things that I've heard today in this seminar. Namely, can McCain separate himself from Bush while agreeing with Bush's policies on all of the matters of central importance to the public? Now, just changing physically may be enough, but here's where the second point comes in. And by the way, this really draws on John's point about base mobilization and a reform candidate. What does reform mean? It's inchoate, but what does it mean if it's not linked to altering the coalitions in support of policies that might touch problems that Americans experience and care about? That comes to the second point. The advantages that are there are only realized if a campaign effectively moves them to the center of debate so that the public notices them and draws the very points that of contradiction that John suggested. So my own sort of personal view is that the underlying substance behind the McCain-Palin ticket about reform is undermined by the substance of what they have in mind doing, and that the Obama campaign over the next 5+ weeks, if it is to be predicted based on what they have done over the last 19 months, will be focused on illustrating that point and substituting a reform agenda not based on some notion of getting rid of the bad guys and moving the good guys in, but focused in particular on issues that matter at a time in which the country is greatly stressed. If that happens and they succeed, my guess is these broad forces favoring the generic Democrat will be diminished in part by the uncertainty of the racial resentment backlash, but not sufficient to turn this into a dead heat election, and therefore the most likely outcome is a somewhat more comfortable election for Obama and Biden, but nothing approaching the kind of landslides that we had in a less polarized partisan environment.